All right, everybody, what do you say we just take a second? Let's talk edge. Let's just talk edge for a second and the excitement that Brad Holmes has coming from one of their edges, the only edge that they drafted. But we're going to talk about the extreme upside of Ahmed Hassanein, and we're going to talk not just about that. We're going to hear what Brad Holmes had to say about it and what he had to say in response, which will make you like this guy even more. But we're also going to look at, you know what, there are still edge defenders out there, veteran edge defenders that absolutely can do exactly what we need of them. They can do exactly what we need of them. So we're going to get in here. We're going to talk about these things. But first, let's just talk about kind of the process and what it looked like to get this guy who's quickly becoming possibly my favorite draft pick. And it's not because he's an edge defender. It's not. It's because I like the story. It's because I like the work ethic. And quite frankly, I like the athleticism. I do. I think he absolutely has all those things going for him. Let's see what Brad Holmes has to say as well. He's saying right here, you get a list of all the guys that have received an invite to an all-star game. If you hadn't caught the film during the season, and so we just want to make sure we got that covered or get that covered. And that's when I first started watching his tape. And then that's when I was like, look, he's got some things to learn and he's got a ways to go. But you can make up a lot of things if you're playing with effort and toughness and physicality, Holmes said. And he's a good athlete too, so we're excited about him. You have to understand, this isn't one of those things where he's just plays hard and he's tough. Yeah, he is tough and he does play hard. But what you have to understand too is that he has that physicality and that strength to get it done as well. I've seen his bench press numbers. Like, he is a very, very strong man. He's coming off a senior season at Boise State where he had 17 quarterback hits. That's the third most in the FBS. Fifth most pressures at 62. He had 9.5 sacks. And he stood out in the East-West Shrine Bowl. So when you look at this guy, sure, you can say the production was at a lower-ish level. Yeah, it wasn't a Power 5 conference. Okay, 9.5 sacks is 9.5 sacks. You don't see guys earning that just anywhere. It's not a thing. And if he's got a ton to learn, and he's producing the fifth most sacks in college football. Now, remember, the other side of this, too, is, he piled up a lot of sacks because he played out in the Mountain West or whatever it's called now. Okay, well, in the Mountain West, they have gadget offenses. They get the ball out quick. They have quarterbacks that aren't holding on to the ball forever because, quite frankly, they don't have quarterbacks that have the arms to do it. So in some respects, it's easier to get sacks, and in other respects, it's actually a lot harder to get sacks because it's not a traditional offense that he's going up against. So, yeah, and he did get a sack against Penn State, a more traditional offense. So, like, I look at this guy, and I'm like, yep, this makes sense. I love the upside in the fact that he picked up football in 2019. He's only been playing for 6 years. Are you kidding me with this? All right, so let's go more into what Brad Holmes had to say about this guy. All right, let's talk about it for a second. He said, we acquired him because he plays with his hair on fire. And as let's call it developmental, he said, let's call it developmental, which means he thinks there's a little more there than meets the eye. He says, as he is, he just plays hard, Holmes said. What do you have to do at that position? You've got to set edges and win rushes. It's not a complicated position, is it? Like, you got to win rushes and you got to set edges. And everybody talks about winning rushes. To win rushes, you got to have that bend. This is me talking now, obviously. You got to have that bend. You have to have that athleticism to get around the outside. But Brad Holmes says, and when I say win rushes, it's not just getting a sack. You can win rushes just by harassment and power and collapsing the pocket and just sheer effort. All right, who's seen the movie Moneyball? Who's seen the movie Moneyball where they talk about getting on base? On base percentage. That's what you want, on base percentage. That's kind of how I feel about quarterback pressures and quarterback hits. That's getting on base. A sack, yeah, a sack is hitting a triple, a double, a home run, whatever you want to call it. I would even say a sack is the home run, right? Interception's the home run, a sack's a triple, a quarterback hits a double, and pressures are a single. You want guys that can just consistently fill up the stat sheet with QB hurries, pressures, hits, sacks. And this is a guy who absolutely can do that. And that jumps out on his tape. All right. He went on to say, we just like the upside of him. We like his football character, his work ethic, his passion, Holmes said. He was so fired up on the phone to get here. That's the type of stuff you want to hear. He's been one of those guys that sometimes they start off as one of the favorites, then sometimes they might drift off because you see so much and you do so much film. But he's a guy that just kept staying on the steady climb and ascension. And the more and more and more we watched of him, so fired up about him. Basically what he's saying is that the more film they watch of him, the more they liked him. The more they liked him. And that's what you want to see is when you have a guy that's going to go out there and maximize everything that he has. And that's what he does. Isn't this the same kind of stuff we were saying about Aiden Hutchinson? Right? We were questioning the bend and we were questioning this. And then he had his RAS and he had his RAS. And all of a sudden he went to the combine. We're like, oh man, dude is a sweet athlete too. Like, he can be better. And then with him, are you kidding me? Is there a better spot for him to go behind than with Hutchinson? Learning the technique. There's not much of a better technician if you look at pure technician standpoint off the edge than Hutch. He's a technician. All right, but I think we still need to add a veteran presence. We'll get into that in just a moment of what a veteran could look like. All right, Brad Holmes said he's going to do everything he can, and he's going to try to make sure that he's going to maximize every single thing he's got in his body. He's going to be very, very coachable. The kid would probably sleep in this facility if he could, and that's kind of what his makeup is. Now let's look at what he had to say in response. He said, man, Super Bowl contenders. This is what Ahmed had to say about the Lions. Super Bowl contenders, culture, family, earning everything. I couldn't ask for a better team. He wants to go to a team where he has to earn everything. Love that. I'm so blessed and so honored. I mean, it's the perfect fit for me, and I love the Detroit Lions, and I can't wait to come in and work my butt off and just help the team. Whatever they need, I'll be there. And as a 6th-round pick, that's what the attitude has to be, if I can be completely honest. That is what the attitude has to be. You can't come in with an attitude of anything else. That's what it's got to be, is you have to be in here and you have to understand, like, I will do anything and everything that is needed of me in order to get it done. All right, so what are some of the other options that the Detroit Lions have? All right, found an article, great option, or great look, rather than just looking at all the things available. They threw them right out there. These are some of the guys that I think we could look at right now that I think would make sense. I want you to tell me which one is your favorite of these. All right, the first one, we're going to be looking at Zadarius Smith. All right, I'll even get in here a little closer for you so you can see it. You know who he is. You know all about Zadarius Smith. You saw him for a back half of last year, and we got to see a little bit of what he could be. And quite frankly, I think he showed that he can't be a number one, which we've known his entire career, but he absolutely can be a good edge opposite of a stud pass rusher. I think the other thing that we forget about, every Lions fan, not every Lions fan, that's too much of a generality. A lot of fans are talking about how we need an edge, we need an edge, we need an edge. We have an edge. Like, that's the thing that I think most people miss on. How often, when you look at teams around the NFL, have two phenomenal of any position? Any position. Your list of teams with two great tackles is like 5. We're one of them. Your list of teams with two great running backs is like 6 or 7. We're one of them. Your list of teams with two good wide receivers, 5 to 10. We're one of them. Your list of teams with two really good edges is like 4. Like, it is a really small number. Most teams don't have it. And if they do, it's not as pretty as you'd think. I talk about the Chargers on a different channel sometimes. And last year they had Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Really old and really injury prone. When they're healthy, they're fantastic. But they don't always have two good edge rushers. It's not a common theme. Teams that have two great D tackles, 5 to 10. We're one of them. Teams that have two great safeties, 5 to 10. We're one of them. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when I'm just like, hey, this is not a normal thing. So Hutchinson being there is the one. Now, do I want something slightly better opposite of him? Yes. Is Zadarius Smith one of those guys? Yes. Next guy, Matthew Judon. Is he one of those guys? Let's get all these pictures out of here. All right, let's get all these pictures out of here. Matt Judon, absolutely. Another hometown guy. He's got 72 sacks over his career, 15 and a half of them in 2022. All right, but he was injured in 2023, quiet in 2024. He's about the same age as Zadarius Smith. The question is, does he still have enough left in the tank? Or is he the kind of guy that you bring in, you hope he has enough left in the tank early on, and then he goes, and later in the season, you have one of those young guys developing into that role. I don't love what I heard about his attitude and things like that last year when he went to the Falcons. It was weird. Von Miller, Preston Smith, Dwayne Smoot. All right? Von Miller, we know what he is. He is a pass rush specialist. He doesn't have the same explosiveness that he used to, but he can still be productive. He can still have that good presence for this team. Preston Smith, this is interesting. He actually was opposite of Zadarius Smith in Green Bay for a season or two. They brought them both in. I'm like, what is the difference between these guys? He is a guy that consistently is like, I'll get 4, 5, 6, 7 sacks. He is a good veteran. Like, and here's the thing. Every single year he has played in the NFL, he's played at least 16 games. He is durable above all else. And then you got Dwayne Smoot. I don't know why I said Smoots. I work with a guy named Smoots. Dwayne Smoot, he was a member of the Bills last year. And so he lost to Kansas City. He has a taste of what that looks like. This is more of a run defender. He can do a little bit against the pass, but he didn't do a ton last year. His best was 6 sacks with the Jags back in 2021. All right. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.